So y'all probably don't know, but artists do not make a lot of money from Spotify and streaming and all that good shit. Look, it takes 263 streams to make $1. One. So that means even if you have my music on repeat for a week, I'm probably not going to see more than a couple bucks. So with that being said, today's Bandcamp Friday, which means that you can buy any of my releases and I will get all the profit.
Person that you Antonio, the guy I just showed you who plays guitar.
Hey.
I would love to get him on an episode of Insomniac Musicians Corner, too.
Let's see. I might have moved. Oh, yeah, they're probably in a folder. Okay, so here's on my phone. I ran out of room like 5 times, and I had to borrow Tovon's. His friend was there, so I had to borrow her phone, and she's like deleting stuff as I'm deleting stuff. And I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh.
Okay, cool. And I would slide under there and take some photos and stuff. And I got some pretty cool stuff. The front man, he's got a daughter, and she had ear pro, and she would run up on stage.
Oh, cute.
And like hug her dad. You can go any direction.
Okay.
And hug her dad. And I was like, like
for the family album.
Yeah, I don't want to post those because that's like sensitive stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'll probably like
so cute.
put in my story and then like blur her face out.
Yeah.
Or something like
that. Put like an emoji over her or something.
But I dropped them all in the drive, and they're really cool sports. And then I definitely had to.
That's so cute.
To pull over like 4 or 5 times to go to sleep before I went home. I was like, I'm tired. I need to take a nap.
Oh no!
But I made it home. Nothing happened.
Cute.
There's no traffic.
Oh, that's a cute one.
So I was like,
just send those to him.
Yeah, it's all in the Google Drive. I already sent them all, so they're
nice.
They're set. Okay.
This definitely looks like my kind of jam.
Oh no, it's already on. Okay. Whoops.
Oh, I do that all the time. Mm-hmm. I'll have something queued up, and then I'll be like, shit, it's gone now.
Yeah, they had I think they had a new song, and then it was really cool. Like they always put on a hell of a show. So
yeah, I'd love to see them.
Definitely gonna let you know when they have a new one. But yeah, I really wanted to. He does a podcast. He's got a new one.
I see him always doing stuff.
Something. So I was like, man, I really want to.
He's living my dream.
I really like to do something for him like that, where he just kind of talks about his music and how he got into instruments, or just whatever you would ask him, and I'd just be there like, yo, in the background.
Yeah, you can be the hype man. You can wrangle the pets.
Yeah,
you can keep the pets out of the way.
Yes,
so they don't ruin everything.
We got the lighting, we got the Tovon, we got the sound. Let's go, and the dog's just like woof.
Right, the dog's woofing.
We're gonna woof over here. Come on.
You can keep Astro from knocking everything over.
He's like, you're distracted. Very good. Knocks the camera over.
Yeah.
We need more cat eruptions for the jump, the hypercut of all this stuff. Okay, so photos, stuff. We're gonna react to this. We're going to talk about music.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I am.
Do the honors.
Okay. Darling, take your time. Okay. Ah! And they exchange vocals.
Yeah.
Okay. Very 2008 like band vibes.
Yeah.
And I love his singing voice.
Mm-hmm. He kills it on vocals.
I bet this was so fun to shoot.
Like, it popped into my recommendations one day, and I was like, and I clicked it, and I was like, yo, these guys look like they're having so much fun.
It's fate. Oh no. It's like a video game.
Yeah.
The select the character screen. Like me.
That's actually in our video.
Yeah.
The one before this, when we did a wake up. I'm just like sad guy. Yeah. Sad guy.
Oh man.
I love the little jump thing.
Yeah. Did you ever see the show Steven's Untitled Rock Show on Fuse?
Maybe.
It was very sit on the couch and talk music type thing. And I feel like this is the kind of thing that would be on there.
Something like that, yeah. It reminds me of something like the guys from Mystery Science Theater. They would just talk about stuff like this. Like, what's that guy jumping for? What's going on?
That's me.
Like, all right, stand here, get hit by tennis balls. Okay.
Right.
And cut.
I wouldn't even have to act for that. Oh, with the pink shorts. Doing the boss from Spider-Man laugh.
Yes. And it's
That was
like
dope.
the video starts with him waking up and going, tennis.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm invested from now on. Like
That was
whatever
great.
happens after that.
I
it's
really
just-
dig that.
It's all set. So that's the video. Super excited. I got the audio. I'm gonna send that to you so you can do your thing.
Nice.
But yes, I think that they quickly became a band I fell in love with.
Mhm.
Like they
They fit together really well. Effortless vibe created. It's like they came together through fate.
And they're from Atlanta, I think.
Yes, they are.
It's super cool because like they definitely give off like SoCal vibes.
Yeah.
But not. They got that heavy sound. I love it.
Yeah.
So that is Satire, and now you can play one of those songs.
Okay.
And we'll listen.
Okay, so this song is like an OG Dayseeker song.
Mm.
I'm gonna start you there, and then the other two songs are like much newer than this one. But this song is called What It Means to Be Defeated, and the songs from this band, it's like you can very much tell it's the same flavor in each song, but there's subtle differences. From like a more post-hardcore type vibe to like a more screamo type vibe to more sad boy kind of vibe.
Sad boy, real sad boy.
Yeah, but it's all good. I picture him just like in the studio, like screaming.
Didn't you have one of their songs on your story once?
Yeah, I have them on my stories all the time.
These guys sound really good.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite bands.
I really love their album art too. Like,
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Their merch is nice too. Like I asked people to ask me questions on Instagram recently, and someone said, "What's your favorite band?" I was like, "Impossible question," but here's a few, and I think Dayseeker was number 1 or number 2 on the list.
Well, I felt like that was a trick because Jack score is definitely like if you were like Japanese bands, Jack.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Visual K and Dayseeker, and then deathcore, American deathcore.
Okay.
What did I become? A transition of a
Yeah, it's probably fine there.
It's so good. And his singing voice is so unique to me. Like sometimes vocalists just sound a lot like other vocalists.
Yeah.
And you just go with it because it sounds good. But his voice is very unique.
that, and then like the instruments don't get in the way of it too much either.
Exactly.
And that's a really point of. There was a comment. I think it was Misha from Periphery. It was somebody from that band that was like, it's cool to love the music and want it like an instrumental only, but it's actually no, it wasn't them. It was I think it was Josh De La Victoria. He's a solo guy. He has his own podcast, and he was talking about that and saying like, what's the word? Entitlement, about like to ask the musician for an instrumental version only. It's like, you might like the music itself cool, but it has vocals for a reason. It's a part of the package.
Yeah.
So for him to sound like he does, it's a part of his sound.
Yeah.
It's a part of the band's sound.
Exactly.
And it has to be appreciated as the whole package.
Exactly.
And so for him to sound like that and be unique, and the instruments not get in the way of the vocals too much, like it's not too loud, it's not distracting or anything. That's incredibly hard to do.
And like, to me, his voice is gritty, but it's controlled.
Right.
Like, he's got good control over his voice without it sounding stuffy, without it sounding uniform.
Like each line is, a new breath.
Yeah.
I guess, for lack of a better saying, it's him putting that energy into that line right there.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't sound stuffy. I like it.
Oh, good. Okay, so this is old Dayseeker.
Mm-hmm.
And I will show you. This is my favorite Dayseeker album. It came out like in 2019, I believe, and it's just so good. I wish I could just play all the songs from this album, but we'll start here. It's the first track on the song. It's called Drunk. It's one of my all-time favorite songs. And you already hear the difference in like the vibes of what it was before and what it is now.
Some evolution has happened.
Exactly, but you can tell it's the same band at the same time.
Temporary fiction, can't control your diction. Speak slow. Told me that you see her. Told you that's the
His voice sounds so pretty, and then later it'll go back into sounding a little bit more raw, a little more cracked egg. I don't know what kind of analogy that is, but you mean what I know.
It's like Hacken meets the Contortionist meets textures, I'm thinking, like that sound, but it's like it reminds you of them, but it's not those guys.
Yeah,
like, he still sounds like himself, and that's crazy.
Yeah, the synth-ishness.
With it's like it gives it a really cool texture. Like,
exactly. Razor lighters, everybody.
Well, you can't smoke inside anymore.
Yeah.
You gotta have the lighter app.
Right. Everybody raise your phones. Turn your light on your phone. And it's like next chapter of the song.
You have lost, so stay drunk if it hurts less. Prescription pen to fix your head, but nothing can repair it. Falling doesn't kill you. You see what we were put through by her.
This is a song that could be done with an orchestra.
Yes.
And it'd be so cool.
Yes. Oh my God. Just like when Bring Me the Horizon did Doomed live and had all the, oh my gosh, yes, that would be beautiful. We need Dayseeker to have something like that.
Like, I want to say that's the new thing, but it's just like, when people talk about music and stuff, and I don't like metal, I don't like this, that, and the other, and it's like, okay, I get that, but what if they did this? they add an orchestra like The Who. I was at The Who on Monday, and they had an orchestra with them.
That's awesome.
They played their whole set. I saw the whole thing. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Plenty, an Australian prog artist, he remixed some of this stuff that it sounds more orchestral. I don't know if he's actually played with one, but in response, there's a bunch of people on YouTube who started to play over his songs with violins. Animals as leaders. There's a couple people who played with a harp.
Oh, that would be
over
so
some
pretty.
of their songs and stuff.
That would be so pretty.
There's a dude in India. I think he's in India. He played with a sitar. Like
that's
over.
Awesome.
It was just like, dude, it's all metal. Like, come on, man. So it's so cool.
All right, so
I really like that one.
Okay, now I'm torn because I was gonna play Crooked Soul next, but I kind of want to play Burial Plot.
Honorable mention.
But Burial Plot is very similar to Drunk, where Crooked Soul is a little bit different. So.
And that's even newer, progression-wise.
Yeah. So, okay, actually, you know what? Maybe I'll do this one. I played myself. Okay, this song is Already Numb. It's from the same album. And it starts one way, but it does not stay that way, which you probably noticed is a theme.
Back with the piano.
If you're gonna leave as fast as you came. Your gravity is quick to put me in my place. Learning how to let it not affect, burning through me like a cigarette. The further we grow, the stronger you're.
Where's my tambourine? Take me to church. Very good lyrics as well. It's very good sad boy I need to cry lyrics.
Right in the field.
I know I'm the party kind of guy, but I do love a good sad band. Okay, I will jam to some sad bands.
Gives you some time to kind of take a step back.
Yeah. Remember the person who broke your heart like 20 years ago?
So like, I really like American football because of the sad boy hours.
Yes.
And it's funny because there's like people who will craft stories in the comments.
Yeah.
And they've never been there or in those situations. They've never seen the house.
Yeah.
But the way they're talking about it, you feel a certain nostalgia.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Yes.
Because it's
exactly.
like you've seen it. You've never been there, and you may or may not have been in that situation. But you've seen it. You've seen it in movies. You read it in a book.
Yeah.
And it triggers that sort of feeling. So to have somebody describing what's happening in your head, you're just like,
exactly.
Have we met somewhere? Like,
and that's why I really think it's a thing with music people. Most music people, if not all of them, are extreme empaths. Because, like, not just anybody can do that and, like, things like that and can make up stories for things that have never happened to them before and actually, like, feel emotions about it. That's a very, like, empath thing. I'm for sure an empath. I've been through things and I've felt things, but not sometimes. Like, I don't know what it's like to be addicted to drugs or anything like that. Like, just for example, but I can feel what they convey through the song.
The music, yeah. And it's a reason I like bands like Tool. When I went to, I saw them a couple years at Eagle Bank in Virginia, I think. And they're one of those bands that they strictly enforce no cameras, no flashes, none of that.
Yeah.
And so when I seen their setup on stage, it was very verbose of what's typical, which is drummer in the back, singer up front as the front man, and then the musicians kind of flanking him.
Yeah.
It was singer in the back.
Yeah.
And then the drummer kind of somewhere back there next to him.
Yeah.
And then the musicians up on the sides flanking.
Yeah.
But the singer was next to the big production screens and stuff that were doing cool stuff, kind of like this light. But he was with this TV. He was in the middle, but in complete darkness.
Yeah.
And he never moved. They're playing very complicated and awesome music, but he's not jumping around.
Yeah.
He's giving everything he's got, but he's in the back.
Yeah.
And he's just feeling it. And so I kind of had a newfound respect for him because I'd never seen him live. I've seen some of their shows and stuff, but it was always the camera adds the light, the spotlight. Mm-hmm. So there's always going to be something. But he stood there and he sang his heart out and he said thank you at the end and then he left. And I was like, that's different. That's very,
art.
very different. Yeah. But yeah, like once you're at that level and you can kind of like people appreciate your music for what it is. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go all over the place and do anything that's out of character because they've come to see you. Yeah. And so he said that at the beginning, like, hey, look, let's give it up for the first band or whatever, but this is, if you've never seen us, this is going to be different, but I got to channel this feeling to sing it the way it needs to be sung. So please respect that. Don't take out your cameras. Just be here with us tonight in the moment. And of course people try to do stuff, and but the security will run around and be like, "Hey, get that out of here," But yeah, they definitely put on a great show, and that again, Sad Boy Hours, like man, like he's painting a picture with every song and stuff like that, and then the visual effects is definitely on the trippier side from when you might be thinking in your head, but then you just kind of pay less attention to that and start listening to lyrics, and like you said, it paints a picture, and
it's good stuff. That Dayseeker to me is like the perfect band, and I like a lot of bands, so for me to single out a band, that's a special band. Dayseeker is definitely that, and so I wanted to share it with you.
Yes, I've got the graphics. I'm gonna edit it all up and cut some of that out, and then I'll send it to you, and then you can kind of do what you want to do with it. And I know the because we're listening to music at the same time, some of that's going to get drowned out, but I will still like the point is Bandcamp is doing a really cool thing, and we're listening to them and their music, and even though it got bought out by Epic. And I still don't know how I feel about that. And I've talked to a couple other musicians. They're like, hey, look, if everything stays the same, that's cool. Hey, it might be better for Bandcamp because they now have more money to do cool stuff like a permanent Bandcampfriday or whatever. But Epic as a company probably isn't with that model. I mean, they might be. They made Fortnite, which is like the most.
Just hope for the best. I guess.
But
I feel like somewhere. Hopefully more than you would think, but somewhere around the world there's like a couple friends that are sitting around and they listen to their songs on Bandcamp and they discuss, and so maybe like if like with that vibe, like people will feel like they're with their friends and they're listening to other people talk about music, and even if we can't hear them, they can speak out loud and add their 2 cents too.
Very, very couch combo like. So I got my standard shirt on. The guy Marcos, he's got a new album coming out over here in the summer. He's in Europe right now touring. He's gonna coming back to DC. I tagged this guy that I had met at one of the pineapple guy, the other pineapple, the other two
I
pineapple
remember you telling
guys.
me that story.
So he was Marcos. He was talking about like just kind of struggling internally as a musician. Like people know him for the super crazy complicated stuff he does on stage, the crazy musicality behind it and stuff. And it's just a 2-piece. It's drums and a guitar, and that's it. So he's like doing all this, and it sounds amazing, and he's super exciting to be around and stuff like that.
Nice.
But
my kind of jam.
Yeah, but it comes at a cost. Like it means standing more still, as opposed to just kind of jamming out.
Self-control,
Yeah, it means to which he's improved on greatly. Like to be able to do that and then move around a little bit more.
Yeah.
And there's videos of him walking up like on a treadmill or a Stairmaster, and he's playing and stuff like that, which is how he got invited to some shows a couple years ago and stuff like that. But he's like, look, like he's got 2 EPs. He dropped his album. People loved it, but it's definitely different vibe. It's more jammy. It's more relaxed. It's more SoCal kind of chill.
Nice.
You know. And then so he's about to drop his next one, and he's like, look, you know, it's gonna be different. You know, but as a musician, like this is where I am now. I've gave you the complicated stuff. This will have some of that, I'm sure, but you know, I want people to be able to dance to it. I want people to be able to sing to it and stuff like that. And I get that because CHON, one of the bands, you know, that he's directly influenced by, and all of us are really, CHON, they kind of done the same thing, but they're playing this incredibly technical and complicated music, and it's beautiful and it's danceable, but only if you know the material, you know. But it's definitely just like a wave of energy. As they dropped 2 EPs and then like an album and then another album, and then that's when they signed on to Camarena, and they dropped their most recent album, and they haven't put out anything since then. But it was definitely more relaxed. Not, I wouldn't say suppressed, because that might be the direction that they as musicians were leaning to anyway. So I won't say suppressed, but it's definitely more mellow. They played Coachella with Kenny G, the legendary smooth jazz sax guy. Like they played a song with.
Oh yeah,
like, that's
I know
sick.
you were happy.
That's so sick. So like to do that, and then their music is it's still trippy. It's still acid energy. Like if you know their stuff and the way they've gone, but like to be able to play all the stuff and it still feel like them. It's like that's a hard thing to do, because people will be like, this doesn't sound like you. You've sold out.
You know, the thing is, like, if you want a band or an artist, whatever, to sound the same every single time they release material, you do not love music. You love the sound you love, and that's it. But don't go around calling yourself somebody who loves music, because that's just not how it works. It's just like people. Things change. You can't stay the same. You can't, like, you can't sit there and act like a high schooler forever. Eventually you have to grow up, you know? You have to take the diapers off.
It absolutely is scary, and it's more appropriate that we're turning 30. To say that it absolutely is scary, because I of course I love old school standards and the stuff they had. I loved his original drummer and the stuff that they played. He had this cute little Hello Kitty drum set, and everybody in the comments were like, how does that toy drum set sound so freaking good? It's one, just because he just shreds on drum. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's good like that.
But two, because I think he had like some small custom cymbals, and then like he took off the toy pad, the drum heads, and put on some decent ones. Stuff like little stuff like that. But even still, like even without that, I'm pretty sure he was just like killed it.
Yeah.
And so like, but I love what they've done. Marcos knows Forest Rights of Covet, which is another band I've listened to. They've done some stuff together. They're cool. They're friends. So like that, if I just would have been upset that Jacob, his original drummer, wasn't there anymore, I wouldn't have been able to see the progression of them doing that. They've toured together and stuff. You know, and then the Kenny G thing and all this stuff. Like, so yeah, progression's important. And
like having the mental capacity and the maturity to like understand why things have to be like that. Just some people don't have that. They don't have that ability. It's frustrating.
This is one of the other podcasts I'm listening to, and they talk about the starving artist. No, actually, yeah, it's the podcast. It's the Art and War podcast, and there's just two dudes in the military. And they're very well rounded, because they're artists. Well, one is a soccer guy, and the other is like a digital artist. He's a professional. But you know that it's art. It is like for us it's music and stuff. For him, it's physical art, physical media. But they talk about these concepts in a way that people who don't understand art, or like what it means to be an artist, and what that entails, like on an intimate level, they talk about it, and it kind of paints a picture, such as like, so for you, this is an art for you. This podcast, this conversation we're having, this is an art form for you. It's also your business. So you know, to be hired to do this, like somebody might go, hey, I like the stuff you've done with Zach and all these other guys, Aoxis, whoever. I'd like to hire you. You got to go, oh, okay, well, this is art. This is an art form for me. So you know, you got to give me something. It's not just free. You might want to do it for free, and in the beginning it might be good too, because you know more people will invite you to do some stuff more and more and more. But at some point it turns into like, okay, I have 50 different interviews booked, and I'm paying out of pocket for them. You know, it's bands I want to see. People like me. I'm glad, but hey, look, I got to put food on the table. Yeah. And at what point do you go, hey, I can't do this one because this, that, and the other. Yeah. And so going back to Standards and Marcos and stuff, he had a post on his IG where he was talking about like him and Ando San, the guy who was talking about CHON. They're just like, hey, look, we got these deals and record labels, and people were asking us to do stuff, and that's cool, especially if you're getting your foot in the door. But they will take these companies, not even Sumerian specifically, but just everybody who's trying to get an angle, they will take advantage of you. Sometimes it's just regular people, sometimes it's the fans who don't necessarily take advantage, but they just it's kind of like we talked about the YouTube stuff, and people think they know you more than they actually do. Yeah. It's something with psychology. And they get so demanding. Yes. So demanding. Like even like on my channel, I do like mainly music reactions, but like, oh, should I pause? No. Okay. I'm making. You can put bookmarks there. Gotcha. So I'm just like. But I do mainly music reactions, and I need people to suggest things because, of course, there's things that I want to react to and that I save for that purpose. But I want to give people what they want, things that they'll watch, and plus that gives me an opportunity to look at things I might not have known about before. Yeah. But some people already have gotten a little demanding. Like, they'll post the same thing under every video. Yeah. When are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? And I'm like, you see all these other comments? I've got a list that I'm working my way through while still trying to do my own list. And it's not that I won't get to it. I'm sure there'll be a point in time where, like, things will go a little stagnant. None of the bands that I'm really into are releasing anything new. They're all kind of taking breaks and doing family stuff. And when that happens and I'm in need of content, I can hit that list. Comments. Yeah, I can hit that list like nobody's business. But in the meantime, like, people have to be a little patient and not to be so bold as to call these people my fans. But I imagine it's almost kind of like a similar concept when it comes to musicians and like people demanding things of them. It's like, okay, but what about my plans? and so back to the Art War guys, they talk about stuff like that. Like, they draw this. It was like a 3-way conversation between 3 artists. It's the 2 hosts, which is the 2 Army guys, but then they did like this 4-way episode where it was like the 3 artists that they've had on as guests, the host, and then the other guy who's just like, hey, you guys are all the art people, so I'm just here. And I'm just happy to be invited. They've all talked about, like, at what point did they reach a level where they can kind of go, okay, I can sustain myself off this. Or rather, like, because at this point comes before that, which is more like, do I bite the bullet and invest all in, like buying new equipment, like using money that you really don't have, money that will put you in a hole if you mess this up or if you don't commit. Like, at what point do you commit, or you just try to keep doing I need my regular job and stuff. So they've all talked about the different levels where they've done that. They've all talked about the greed of people and what that means as an artist. Like, at some point you go, no, because it's like, hey, look, can you do this commission for me, this, that, and the other? And I go, yeah, my it's not even like a negotiable rate, it's just a flat rate. For non-inked drawings, it's this. Or for you, it'd be, just to have me talk for 20 minutes, it's going to cost you X. Yeah. Like, that time, it's all about time. When you realize what your skill is worth. And it's, okay, so on a personal level, like, anytime we as the band try to get, when we're looking at videographers and stuff, and all the guys and stuff, it's like, okay, we can have a guy with a really good camera, but he's kind of just been doing it on his own. We can get that guy to do a pretty cheap video, and if there's a specific song we have in mind where we just do that, that's cool. But when you're looking at trying to get it professionally done, and it's obsession with professionalism, what does that mean exactly? It means the guy has all the stuff that he needs to do the project, or it means that, especially on a bigger production where you have to order stuff in, it means that he just has the skills to put it all together.
Yeah. It
doesn't mean he's any less valuable because he's went to film school. He knows everything. Like, when people are describing stuff and they're like, like this and that, and they know exactly what you're talking about because they've been in that industry.
Yeah.
And we've done with making music, the sound guy. Hey, can you do this? And we're talking about throwing some 808 bass drops in there. Like, we were talking about that, and before we could even onomatopoeia to the guy to describe it, he's like, cuts his computer on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but more like, yo, I got you. Dude, like, you're paying for that, the time that they went to school,
and their vision,
and the vision, and their vision for what they think that you want for your, their experience, all that stuff. Like, if it takes them 5 minutes to do exactly what you wanted to do, you shouldn't shortchange them. You know, you go, oh, that's tip worthy, right? And it's because Americans tip, nowhere else really does. But so that for us, that's tip worthy. Like, you know exactly what I'm talking about without even me having to say it. Yeah. Yes, man, this was great. As opposed to somebody who's like, because we live in this area, it's mainly rap. So there's a million studios where the mic is in the closet and the dude knows how to do everything for rap and not for a rock band and stuff. Yeah. We've had our fair share of, going to stuff like that. And that's cool when you're first starting out and you've only got $50 and you don't have any equipment. But at some point, like,
your value
bands,
changes.
Artists, you gotta go, okay.
And you deserve somebody who's got the passion for what you're doing. Like, instead of trying to convince them and be like, like, they've already got the passion, like, they're excited with you, instead of you feeling like you're trying to sell yourself to somebody when they're the ones who are supposed to be working for you.
I get it once. It's kind of like, this is a weird jump, but like, okay, so for women and dating, everybody's in their inboxes and stuff, and they all say the same thing. So for some guys...
Where you from?
Yeah, like... So
Let me tell you where I live. No, sorry, go on.
No. So for engineers or video directors and stuff like that, I get that. At some point, you're not jaded, but you've kind of seen it all. And it's like you've worked with the best or not. And you kind of have your biases, and you're just like, all right, this band's coming in or whatever, I'm gonna do it and stuff. If you genuinely feel for the music, you're like, okay, you can get excited, you can show that because the band will feedback off of that, and you're like, that's what I want. I see the goosebumps in your neck, man.
The exchange,
like, but if it's like, it's not my speed, but it isn't bad. Yeah. Can I offer you some professional advice? And then you can still have that conversation. They'll either take your advice and do something, or they go, hey, look, this is what we want musically. Yeah. It doesn't sound like it should, but that's musically. Yeah. This is an artistic choice that we're trying to do here. And you go, I can see that. And then you can talk about the chord structures and stuff. It's the same with video production. It's the same with art. Like, Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Of course.
So that art style, the squiggle vision art style, that looks distracting and annoying to some people. But I grew up watching that, and my sister hated that show. But
I love that show.
It's pure.
Plank is my crush.
We have Plank downstairs. He's gonna be a guest on the podcast. That show is just pure energy. In the same way that like Codename's Kids Next Door is just like how kids imagine stuff. Yep. Like, okay, I can take this. For sure. the stick gun. You just take 2 sticks and put it together.
Or even Rugrats.
Same thing. It's like that energy, and to be able to explain that
We're
to somebody.
We're exposing our age to the world.
Yeah. That's happening more and more on accident, I've found out. But all those shows, all those things, like that level of energy, these are artistic choices. Because somebody might go, hey, man, what am I seeing here? Yeah. And it just kind of off-puts him. It happens to us. Oh, boy.
I'm frightened. Oh,
that was awesome.
It's the ghost in your home.
We're going to mute that. Okay, so that's my roommate. He just did that.
Oh.
He's got the thing on the TV.
Oh, that's so funny. That scared the actual crap out of me.
I see what you did there, sir. It failed, but I see what you did there.
Oh, my God.
I was downstairs chilling. I was like, wait a minute. I thought the TV was on the stairs. And I saw that it was on the Roku. I was like, let me fuck it on.
Thank you, Emmerich.
You're good. But that's gonna stay in there. But that's actually a good way to break stuff up. But like, stuff like that. So it's really cool when anybody can get into your thing, and that Bandcampfridays is important for musicians because it allows them just to kind of to create. Patreon is super
I still can't
important.
believe what you showed me about like the
the Spotify
royalty
stuff?
Not royalty maybe
the breakdown.
It's
That's Spotify because I gotta ask Josh. I don't know if you have to pay to be on their platform specifically.
Yeah.
But for like to get on CD, all the OG stuff, iTunes, which is different from Apple Music for some reason, which is different from Google Play, which isn't supported in some places anymore, which is different from like Windows Media Player. And all the places you can buy music, they're all different from each other. They all have different breakdowns for how much the percentage they'll take when you and then you still have to pay. I don't know if you have to pay a flat rate where it's like you pay one and you get this album up, or if you pay monthly to keep it up.
Yeah.
It's whatever negotiation, whatever stipulations. Hey, that's cool. You can make money off of that, especially if you get really popular. People will get you. You will get money, sure, but they're gonna get their money.
Yeah.
Something like Bandcampfriday means that Bandcamp still gets their money, but Dexcore, if they have one, Animals Leaders when they had one before they joined, CHON when they had one before they joined Samir, Standards they still have one. They're signed to Top Shelf, and so I gotta check to see if Mark if he releases his stuff, if it goes on his and Top Shelf, or if it just goes to Top Shelf. But he's with them. Hey, that's cool. But it means that he gets that's the equivalent of like going to a show and buying merch.
Yeah.
Which is how bands make money. And everybody's talked about that. Periphery, the big name, like not necessarily Prince himself, but like people of that caliber. Like tours are cool, and that used to be how you made your money. And then you would get record sales, but that was mainly how the company made their money. After LimeWire and all the Napster, all that stuff, companies started hemorrhaging money, which meant they started cutting deeper into the tour money and stuff like that. So now, the only way you really make money is if you're doing side projects, which that company can't tap into directly, or you do like a project under another name, which people are following you for your clout. And so that kind of isn't the same music that you would normally do. It's just a kind of side project, or merch. Lots of merch. And guests appearing as yourself in videos and commercials and stuff. All that's how you make money, but that's after you've made it.
Yeah. And it gets complicated. Like when the Veer Union came, they're from Canada. They had to like get their merch when they crossed the border and came into America. My friend Zach was actually telling me when we were leaving that show that when his old band Branch Avenue crossed the border to go into Florida, Border Patrol saw their merch and was like, okay, but you can't sell this here.
Why?
Because they're
Canadian.
Yeah, you're going from America to Canada. An American can't go into Canada and make money off of something.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, the Veer Union, they had to acquire their merch once they got across the border while trying to do all this other shit for the tour. Like, they're not from this country. And I'm like, being a musician sounds fucking hard.
Yeah, did we talk about Adam Neely a little bit? I might have touched on it a little bit. They did a tour somewhat recently, and they almost went into the hole for $17,000.
Jesus.
And that's because
what does 17 grand even look like?
that's a car.
Yeah.
That's just about a little over my car out front. Like, so they started their tour. They gotta pay the guests. They gotta pay. It's kind of like Standards. It's two of them. It's Adam Neely and his drummer guy, and that's the project. Anybody else they hire on, and so the guitar player and the singer they might have, the guest people, the other named guest people they might have, like Adam Neely's band featuring insert guest here, like they have to pay that guy more, because he's a special kind of, and then everybody else owned the tour. Then travel expenses, sure. Everybody's got to get tested all the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh God,
COVID,
yeah.
And then 2 of their guys came down with COVID, and so they had to cancel some shows and then reschedule other shows.
And COVID does not discriminate on whether you're a big band or a small band. I watch Ricky Olsen from Motionless in White. You actually should watch his YouTube channel. I think you'd really like it. He does vlogs of like their tour and does like updates and check-ins and like puts the camera in the faces of the staff and like gets their review on things. And there was like over the last few years when they've attempted to go on tours, it's like somebody always gets COVID, and even like their guitarist, their other guitarist, got COVID. He had to leave. They had to ship him out, and he had to leave. I don't know what they did, and they even this year, Motionless did a show with like a tour with Ice Nine Kills and Black Veil Brides, and it was this big thing. But Black Veil Brides caught COVID. So now it's an Ice Nine Kills and Motionless in White tour. We completely got rid of one of the headliners, and they were in the center on all the posters, too. That shit was
like
crazy.
That happens. And it might not necessarily be a permanent thing. Like, hey, we'll pick these out later. Or, you know, they might, like how big... They used to, I don't know if people still do it, but understudies. People used to have understudies just for in case they got sick or somebody broke their arm or just whatever, it's too drunk to play. All right, cool. So this guy was going to... You can do that still, but with COVID, it gets harder because it's like, okay, everybody's got to... Okay, after this show tonight, everybody's got to stop, do an emergency testing, do another test in the morning.
Because if one person has it, then somebody else is probably also going to have it.
So it's like, okay, if one person from this group has it and nobody else from this group has it, would it be easier just to quarantine that entire group or try to push on as we have been? But there's no easy answer. It's going to cost money to somebody somewhere. And in the case of Adam Neely and stuff, they tried to be, and it's not even slick. They're trying.
They're hustling,
They were hustling, and so they were like, okay, we're gonna be sick. We got to quarantine for 2 weeks, so we can't do these shows here. They have to get canceled, or maybe we can reschedule. So they rescheduled some shows, and they were in like California. So okay, let's go up to Portland, or they had to drive up the West Coast basically. They drive a couple hours up the West Coast. Hopefully we'll be okay. We'll test negative, and then we can play those shows. Come back. It didn't work. So, you know, some of them still had, you know, tested positive and stuff like that, or they just weren't feeling great. They're like, it's not gonna work. Okay, so they can't play those shows now, which means they have to come back to still try to do the ones that they rescheduled for. So the ones up north got canceled. Like, that's crazy, and they in the hole for 17,000. And they still managed to break even because every show at that point had sold out and kept selling out, which meant if everything went better, they would have made a nice chunk of change. Okay, we learned some lessons. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But, like you said, I can't even imagine what that looks like. That's crazy. And there's nothing you can really do except go, okay, we're going to try this swipe card.
Yeah.
We're going to try this swipe card and stuff. And, back to the entitlement. And he's explaining all this stuff that's happening, and he's doing the vlog on tour and stuff, and everybody in the comments, including other musicians, is like, sleep in the van. Sleep in the van, sleep in the van. And I get that, because I'm one of those people who can sleep anywhere.
Yeah, you sure are.
At some point, like, I'm going to Mexico in a couple days. Like, I'm going to be there for the weekend, and then I'm coming home because I want my bed.
Yeah.
I want a bed.
Yeah.
So to demand that from other musicians, like, we have all this technology, we have all of the capabilities that allow us as people to be able to do the same thing that musicians did 100 years ago, but to a different standard. It could be under the same conditions, which means you got a driver where you kind of got to suffer through certain things. But sleeping and being able to play your next show as best you can, as professionally as you can, that shouldn't be one of the things that you have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And so, you know, hey, if we have $50 now and it means we have to skip dinner tonight, but it means we get to sleep in the bed, stuff like that's gonna come up, sure, but you know, it shouldn't be demanded from artists. Like, Marcos is great from Standards. He's great. He shouldn't have to starve. He shouldn't have to go through all the BS. He's got a signature guitar with his name on it and all the fruits and stuff that you see on the shirt.
Yep.
That's his guitar. So why should he have to go through certain things? Not saying he did personally, but I'm sure there's stories that he doesn't talk about. Like same with other musicians and stuff like that. It's crazy to think about, but there's people who demand that you suffer for your music.
Yeah.
And it's like, but don't you like me as a musician? It's
Yeah.
like, I like you, but I like you when you suffered.
Right. It's like, how about this? Where's your $30 for a T-shirt? Buy some merch.
I'll suffer. I'll make some shirt with my hands.
Yep.
It'll have my blood on it. Like,
Yeah.
I'll suffer for you. Buy the shirt though.
Yeah.
They want you to suffer and then listen to their music on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
And stream it on YouTube.
Yep.
YouTube is streaming, so you're not even buying my music.
Yep.
You're streaming it, and that's kind of to wrap it up. I like Spotify because I've learned about a bunch of musicians that I otherwise wouldn't have access to or thought about when it's just in my recommended playlist. And it makes it easier to find other musicians. Like apparently, Connect 4 Orchestra is on Spotify. They have exactly one song on there. But they have 2 EPs that I had to email a guy in the comment section of a YouTube because their music is nowhere else. So he had to email me their music. This dude from like the Norway.
That's
so he's
so
talking
funny.
to me in broken English and was like, "Yo, I love these guys. I hope you love them too." I was like, "Aww, I wish I could hug you." But like, so to get all that, and then just find that they have even more stuff on Spotify. Hey, that Spotify's great for that. But I want to buy this music first time.
Show your sport.
What's it, Pandora? Can you buy music on Pandora?
I haven't used Pandora in
years.
So
that was
long.
The OG Spotify.
You're right, because
so,
I used to.
I never used it. I'm on YouTube listening before Bandcamp.
I used to use Pandora.
I'm on YouTube just listening to the music, and I'm like, cool, I'll order the CD off Amazon. Something. Now it's like, okay, that's cool, but I want to support that musician.
Yeah.
I love the stuff they're doing. I want to support them more. Patreon. Make a Patreon. Yep. Patreon isn't the end all be all. There's other apps like them, like with the coffee one, and there's a couple other ones. Like Patreon's cool because it's going, whether you have merch to sell or not, I support you. Whether you have new music or not, I support you. Yeah. And it's really cool for that because you don't know what these Adam Neely, Marcos from Standards, Periphery, all those guys, I don't know what they're going through, but I know every day isn't sunshine and rainbows and stuff. Sometimes you just need to not sleep in the van. You need to sleep in a bed, and you deserve to do that because you make music, especially, and this is my bias talking, especially if you're an American. We have, our image of ourselves should make you want to tip your musician. Yeah. Go tip your guitar player. Because they deserve it, Without that, it's basically going back to the U-Haul bucket or the big old hat. Hey, give us some music, give us some money on stage. We're not gonna, we shouldn't ask, but we're broken. Like absolutely. Stuff like that.
That's like, I mean, not to like, I know we're trying to wrap it up and stuff, but not to add on another point, but that reminds me of a conversation I was having about like guys in bands and like their girlfriends or like love interests or whatever, and how they feel about like girls coming to their shows, girls being super fans, girls even kind of acting like groupies a little bit. And I'm like, if you care about that person, if whether that person is your friend, your brother, your boyfriend, your husband, I like to see the people I care about make money. I like to see the people I care about get paid. They can have all the groupies they want. I don't give a shit if they bought right. If they bought the ticket to get in, I don't care what happens beyond that point. Like I really don't, and that's not just me talking out of my ass. If they bought a ticket, let them hang around and shake their tits. I don't care.
I feel like, because Haku's in Japan, she might have some insight on stuff like that. But idols and idol groups and stuff like that, and they might not be known, but they have the same 5 guys that will always show up to all their shows. That's the hype core right there.
Yeah.
So when people who don't know you come out,
clubs for like Asian artists, like whether it's Korean pop music or like Visual K and J Rock and stuff like that. The fan clubs don't play. They'll pay $300 to be in a band's fan club for a year.
I would like to actually get I'm gonna send this to you, and you can do all your stuff, and then you should send it to Haku so she can talk like for 2 minutes about things that she sees in Japan.
Yeah, for sure. Because
me and you have talked about stuff that like conversations you guys have had.
And she pays to be part of Deer and Gray's fan club every single year. She renews it, and she's been a part of their fan club like forever. And she always renews it. It's like a thing. It's like renewing a magazine subscription. She just does it.
I would love to have her just kind of drop some 2 cents on things that she's seen. But like stuff like that is so important. As long as as long as it's not detrimental. And for the most part, having groupies and people who follow you around and want to take your picture and all that stuff, it's not an issue unless there's like something romantically between partners.
Yeah, as long as nobody's cheating on their people, or at least not bringing other people in on them cheating on their people, that's their business. And as long as everybody is safe, then who fucking cares? Let the chicks do what they do.
To be honest, that's still an issue. It's bands still break up for it and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's way less of an issue than it was 20, 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah, like Rolling Stones and shit like that, yeah.
But to be fair, like that, I mean, the way people see musicians has dropped down for the most part. Like rap is that now. But for rock stars and stuff, the rock gods there's nobody who could do what Jimi Hendrix did. There's nobody who could do what these guys do.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, SRV, he plays very Hendrixy like music and stuff, so that people can play Hendrix note for note. People can play stuff like Tosin's thumping, where his thumb is at a 90-degree angle, and everybody talks about it. Like, people can maybe not exactly like it, but they're like, music is so, it's opened up to so many people from around the world that somebody somebody in Japan who's gonna get that technique down to 1-to-1. Like, there's people who can do that now, and because of that, like, people are more invested in the person and the music as opposed to just, hey, this dude is a rock god and he's gonna make me cream my pants. Like, you know, so because of that, it means you don't. The pressure's less. The stress is still there, but it's way less. The experimentation with drugs is also calmed way down. People smoke pot is what it is. You know, edibles, hey, it's cool, whatever. Yeah. Some people do shrooms, hey, that's cool, and that's relatively safe. Anything harder than that, you know, most people kind of shy away from. Some people get into it, and we've lost a couple big name musicians because of that. And actors too, like Michael Caine from The Wire. He died sometime last year, and so on and so forth. Like, it's way less of a thing. It still happens, and people still do it. People still do other strange things, but because of that less of experimentation with drugs and the less need to
Canoodle.
I'm gonna go sleep with everybody. Like, no, I've got my home slice at home. She's
Jim Morrison type mentality.
Yeah.
And you've got more people who like their girlfriend is in the crowd or their wife goes on tour with them, which is another thing. We'll talk about this next time, but I will just briefly touch on it. Girls who want to go on tour with their dudes, if you're not willing to take on a task, do not ask to go. If you're too good to work merch, or if you're too good to carry equipment, or if you're too good to take on the responsibility of calling hotels, paying for meals, then do not ask to go what you need to go for. Other than just to get in the way.
Because vehicles only have so much space. You're taking up space. You're adding to food costs and stuff. And stuff like that is... Stuff like that is also why bands break up, because it's like, what was it? Not the Beatles, not necessarily them specifically, but just, I don't know exactly what happened between Yoko Ono and all this stuff, but it's like, hey, look, you got to be up like just the distractions.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we got to have practice.
We could do I could talk about that forever. We'll do a whole separate thing about that. But
to set the record though,
yeah.
It's not dudes and their girlfriend. It's just partners.
Yeah.
So not to be like, oh, will guys do that too? And
yeah, for
the first
sure.
husband, and like, no, I'm saying specifically.
Yeah, whether it's the boyfriend, the girlfriend, or anything in between a boy and a girl, or neither.
It's just the partner, the spouse. Like you got to be able to contribute, even if it's keeping the morale up, the energy up, taking turns driving.
Yes, exactly. Like if you are not willing to do a job, what do you need to go for?
You gotta.
Oh, that's like a pet peeve with. We will talk. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Woo.
All right, this is kind of Crystal's podcast thing.
Yes, I have
we're just doing
hijacked
some music
this.
stuff. We're gonna see what happens. I don't know what we're gonna call this. Crystal will come up with a name and edit it. I'm gonna edit it. We're gonna work this out. It's gonna be great.
Good job, man.
Good job, and